Welcome back. In this video, we will discuss the Amazon Route 53 service. DNS resolution is the process of translating an internal name to the corresponding IP address. The DNS protocol stands for Domain Name System, and it functions like a phone book where internet names are replaced for the IP addresses of the corresponding machines. Amazon Route 53 gives you the ability to register a domain name, such as yourcompany.com, and have the service handle the names and hosts related to that domain. Route 53 is highly available, scalable, fully compliant with IPv4 and IPv6 address. Amazon Route 53 supports several types of routing policies. They determine how it responds to name resolution queries. Simple routing lets you configure standard DNS records. With simple routing, you typically route traffic to a single resource, for example, a web server for your website. With weighted routing, you assign weights to resource record sets to specify the frequency with which different responses are served. You might want to use this capability to do A/B testing, also known as blue-green deployment. With a blue-green deployment, you send a small portion of traffic to a server where you made a software change in order to verify that it's all working. For example, you might send 99% of the traffic to a system A and 1% of the traffic to system B that actually have some small modifications implemented before rolling it into production. You can use latency-based routing when you want the response to arrive in the fastest way possible. Route 53 determines the fastest way to deliver a response. This does not always mean that the shortest path will be used, especially if that shortest path is saturated and slow. Geolocation routing lets you choose the resources that serve your traffic based on the geographic location of your users. Geolocation routing determines where the request has originated from in terms of geographic location, and it responds with the address of the closest point of access to your service. When you use geolocation routing, you can localize your content and present some or all of your website in the language of the geographic location of your users. You can also use geolocation routing to restrict distribution of content to only the geographic locations where you have distribution rights. Failover routing, or DNS failover, can be used to help detect an outage of your website and redirect users to an alternate location where your application is operating properly. Failover routing requires a health check to be configured. If the health check fails, the secondary address becomes and gets distributed. You can also combine any of the other routing options into a multi-value response. Here we see an example of multi-region deployment with geolocation. With Amazon Route 53, the user is automatically directed to the elastic load balancing that is closest to the user. Multi-region deployment of Route 53 enables latency-based routing to the region and load balancing routing to the next availability zone. Amazon Route 53 DNS failover enables you to improve the availability of your application that runs on AWS by configuring a backup and failover scenarios for your applications. It also enables highly available multi-region architectures on AWS, and it requires a health check in order to monitor the health and performance of your web applications, web servers, and other resources. Each health check that you create can monitor the health of a specified resource, such as a web server, the status of other health checks, and the status of an Amazon CloudWatch alarm. Here you see how DNS failover works in a typical architecture multi-tier web application. Route 53 passes traffic to a load balancer, which then distributes the traffic to a fleet of EC2 instances. To ensure high availability, you can create two DNS records for the host www with a routing policy of failover. The first record is called the primary, and it points to the load balancer for your web application. The second record is the secondary, and it points to a static web page hosted in a specific Amazon S3 bucket. That bucket is configured as a website. Route 53 health checks and makes sure that the primary site is available. If the health check fails, a static splash page will be distributed. The static page alerts customers that you are restoring service. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.